Hey everyone, I can finally see myself, so I guess that means you guys can see me as well. I hope that you can hear me too. So as I'm checking the microphone, because I know it's always a bit uh, potentially a bit problematic to to uh, to hear me. So just checking in case anyone in the chat can let me know. Can you guys hear me well? If so, we'll start right away with the Fight night, but I just want to make sure everyone can actually hear me. I don't see any complaints, so seems like it's working fine. I will take it as granted. Okay, I also have a bit of a weird delay right here, so I'm trying to catch back on that. Just a second. Okay, so now I should have less delay. That's better. Okay, please let me know in the chat if there's any issues or whatever, because my connection has been a bit shitty to say the least today. So yeah, I just want to make sure there's nothing wrong happening here. And if that would be the case, if there's anything, as always, please let me know. In the meantime, we will basically start. Um, I just need to check one thing, make sure that this is set up properly, and we'll be able to start with the easy and medium fight. We have 22 players in this category, starting with Aniviper, but I'm not going to tell the other names because already the second one is in Cyrillic and I have no idea how to pronounce it. So you guys can check the list, which is already available in the description of the video and also on Discord. So you shouldn't be having any trouble knowing who comes next. I just need the event to go live and we'll be able to start. Okay, everything is set up. Let's roll. There we go. Okay, so I hope that everyone is doing great. I see that we have 6 people watching. Do not hesitate if you want to share any suggestions, questions, etc. As always. Hey, Matremar, welcome to the stream. Um, Yeah, as I was saying, do not hesitate, as always, to contribute to the chat. If you have any question, if you have anything you want to mention, you are always welcome to share your inputs, share any questions you may have, and I will try to address it to the best of my abilities during the community stream. For those that might be watching it for the first time, if there's any, maybe not live, but maybe in the replay, since we've had quite a few newcomers joining in the last few days, the community. This is the community stream happening roughly every 2 weeks, in which we are talking about the news of what's coming into the game soon, but also the latest thing that might have happened in the game already. And we also take the opportunity to run the community fight night, in which you are facing my army. And if you defeat me, you get great rewards. If you get defeated, you still get some rewards, some gems, but not as much. There are 2 categories. First one is the easy and medium, if you will, which is mostly targeted to new players. As you see right now, Ladoc has level 5 artifacts and quite strong units. Usually that's not the type of players that this army is meant for, but I mean, that's their loss. They get way less gems than they would if they went to the other category. The other category, which we will do afterwards, is the more advanced um, category that is targeted more for players that have been there with us for a little while, that have high level artifacts, or that are just way better strategically than me, which is often enough to beat me at this little game. And that's about it, about what we are doing today. I just decided I would do this recap because it's been a little while that we just take it for granted and start right away. it's always better to have this small recap. But also, as I was saying, we've seen quite a few new faces coming into the community in the past few days. So it's also a good opportunity to remind everyone of what we're doing here. So regarding the news about the game, the first thing I would like to mention, there will be a post about that later today after the stream, but there will be a very short maintenance tomorrow. That's for an upcoming feature. We are simply just implementing and testing what we call a feature flag. So that's the lesson of the day for people that don't know what a feature flag is. It just means that in the code of the game, you can activate or deactivate the feature with just a flip of an option without having to run an update or without having to uh, do a crazy data push, deploy, without having to upload a new version to the store, anything like this. And it's especially interesting when you have new features coming in or new mechanism, etc. Because if anything goes wrong, you can just basically turn it off right away, avoid any damage to any accounts, and you can retrigger it as soon as the issue is sorted. That's something we try to do with more and more of the features we release. It's not always technically possible, but we try to do this, and one of those is going to be applied tomorrow. And yeah, so basically now talking about what will come into the game soon, we are finishing the very last details for the new global red boss event or the non-beta version. The plan is to have it released as as we speak. It's planned for mid of October, roughly. But instead, the last time we spoke, I was saying that we would probably go into two different blocks. Ultimately, we were able to basically get the work done for the remaining tasks for the second block as we were finishing the ones for the first one. So it's very likely at this point that everything, all the changes we were mentioning, will happen in one go. What are those changes? For those of you that don't know, the global red boss will have fixed leaderboards because the leaderboards were showing data that is not very intuitive. Long story short, the ranking was based on the total of your score, so total of your attempts, but the scores you were saying were only the top 10 tries that you have. So we fixed that. The leaderboard is going to work the same way because changing the behavior of the leaderboard is a lot harder, but it will display the correct scores. You will have a new leaderboard, which is a clan leaderboard. This clan leaderboard will be based on the number of attempts. So not the number of attempts, but the number of arts taken down by the clan. You will have an increased leaderboard for the rewards, meaning that the rewards will now go to the top 500. And then after the 500, you will have a very, very small reward. When so far it was only for the top 100, and then below 100, you had the just, participation validation. It will come with a new currency, so you will not be using your portal keys anymore, but a new different type of portal keys specifically for the global red boss. There's two benefits for that. The first one is because you cannot use um, those keys for anything else. There's a good reason to go and use them rather than just basically waste those. And at the same time, it means you can keep your portal keys for the red boss, the clan red boss, and get the benefits from the clan red boss. What else? Yeah, as I was saying, there will be a team leaderboard as well. The clan leaderboard will grant. Um, um, they will not grant reward for now, but it will grant the on top of saying you are the clan that won the event, um, your clan's name will basically be displayed throughout the entire event as a way to show off that you won this. On the longer run, we hope that we'll be able to add some cosmetics to that very leaderboard as well. But for the time being, there are some complications because in order to do that, we also need to lock the clans for the duration of the event, etc. So that would probably be an additional step if we see that players are enjoying this new system, etc. There will be a brand new boss. This brand new boss has a lot more pattern than before. It's a lot crazier than it used to. So that should be quite fun. Most likely, the first iterations will still need a bit of tweaks in terms of the number of arts for the boss, because since it's a new currency, it's hard to evaluate. On one side, we could think that more players will participate because they will have this new currency that they cannot use elsewhere. That's very true. But at the same time, maybe that the top guys will spend less keys because in the past they were using portal keys that they basically stacked up for a long time, and now they won't have this stack anymore. So if they want to use way more keys, they will have to use their gems for that, and I'm not sure they will be using in order to get as many attempts going on as in the past. Thank you for letting me know, Matremar. There will probably be just one fight that was not in the fight, but that's okay. You're actually very good to spot that, or rather, I'm extremely bad at following this because I'm lost in my faults of trying to explain to you all the stuff. So it's always a bit messy. Okay, so let's close the event, grant the rewards, move to the other accounts, and then I will come back to what I was saying. Okay. Just before we start, I'm just going to recheck that we don't have this annoying account that was there the last time again. I don't see it so far, so I think we are good. Okay. Okay, I think we're good, but that's just one account that I want to check because I remember we had some issues with that. Ah, okay, we should be good. Let's go with this. Yes, we have our auto spins. Everything is there. Yeah, thank you for having my back, Matrema. That's definitely appreciated. Okay, everything is set up. We should be ready to go. Yes, there we go. So yeah, I think I mentioned all the changes to the global red boss. No, sorry, no. There are still a few changes I didn't mention. Um, there will be rewards shown and better rewards if you are collectively defeating the boss. So, if you remember correctly, when we initially did this event, one of the things we wanted was to have this collective aspects of, having the entire community fight to defeat this boss to get better rewards. The problem was that it was not very clear. It was not really motivating. So now we kind of did it the other way. What used to happen is that you would go to check your rewards, you would see the reward for winning without realizing that if there's no collective win, you basically only get the losing rewards. So right now, I'm still it's still something that I need to fine tune with the team or recheck once. But the last I've heard is that we have now we are basically showing you the general the let's call them the base rewards that you're going to get. So they include the cosmetics and all of that, the skins. Um, the titles, all of that. And then you will see an icon telling you that if the boss is defeated, all the currencies, so gold, gems, etc., will be multiplied by 2. So the idea is instead of punishing you if you're not able to finish the event, the idea is to reward everyone if we get the event to be done. But that's still something I need to check, because the other option that was also mentioned was to have only one set of rewards, regardless of if we win or lose. But if the event is, oh, Matrima, I know what happened. Okay, I'm gonna edit the list right away. That's what happens when you have a player that contacts you a bit late and asks you to add him to the list, which I did, and that basically that puts him at the first step. But anytime you want to get him lower, that basically moves everyone. So you would need to move everyone 90 times to get him to where it was. So it's better to leave it as it is, but to edit the list, which I will do right away. Sorry about that. Just a bit of copy pasting and we'll be there. In the meantime, yeah, what I was explaining is that we should, with the way we're going for, ultimately the other option is to have just one set of rewards, regardless of if you're winning or losing, but to grant an additional rewards to everyone if the boss is defeated. So in both cases, the idea is we reward everyone collectively if a boss is defeated, instead of punishing or sanctioning anyone. It was not really a sanction, but that's how it felt. And that's definitely not the way we want to go. So no matter the scenario we go with, that's what's going to happen. If you manage to defeat the boss, it's a good thing. If you don't manage to defeat the boss, you're not going to get less than what you expected, pretty much. Okay, there we go. Now the list is corrected and it's saved. So it should show up properly. And I will also post it right away on Discord for those of you that are checking there. Thank you for spotting that, Matrima. It's always a bit messy. That's why usually I don't add people when they contact me a bit late. But because the message for the fight night came on Tuesday this week, due to basically other important information that had to be shared with, you know, the the Twisted Curse event, etc. I didn't want all the announcement to come on Wednesday and basically give less visibility to the fight night. But because of that, there was a bit less time to register, and that's why I said to the team, oh no, not to the team, but I said to this player that contacted me, hey, okay, I will do it. That's why it ended up being this way. So yeah, it's a bit stupid, but that's the way it is. Now it's sorted, so that's the good news there, right? I'm gonna close that in the meantime so that we can go back to our lovely fight night. And it seems like it's gonna be a fast one. I mean, I'm expecting to have quite a fair amount of losses because with the Twisted Curse event, I must admit I'm not that good with the Power Stones in general. I don't have the same in depth knowledge that some of you have. So, when on top of that, there's the changed effects, that's definitely impacting us a fair bit. Talking about the Twisted Curse event, we've taken the feedback that was shared with us that sometimes it seems like it's a bit coming out of nowhere, that we change a bit units randomly, etc. Um, what we will try to do for the next time this event shows up should be with the end of the next era. If that works with you, we will probably ask you guys for ID. So my concept is to pretty much set up another contest as we've had for the unit skins and the unit design. And this one will be, create the best set of modifications for the Twisted Curse event. And this way, if you get picked, uh, what we would grant you as a reward is that we would not be granting you gems, or maybe we can have a tiny amount of gems, but we will mostly grant you, when the event goes live, the power stones, the cursed power stones that you basically imagined. Or if it's not power stones, if it's units, we will help you, we'll grant you some shards of that unit, etc. The idea would be to make it a bit more entertaining for the people that would be picked. And this way as well, that would give us different ideas to go for, uh, with different combinations of of um, of Twisted Curse design. Mostly, what we would like is for it to be a bit more coherent. To not feel like it's, we take one random unit, a few random power stones, and that's it. The other thing that happened with this event this time around is that we included some of your feedback, especially regarding the I think it's the amplifier um, power stone. I think that's the name, that a lot of players said was way too strong. So we focused um, the event on having this one lowered quite a fair bit, by 50% roughly, and this should have an impact. Um, some would say it's probably been done just so that the fight night doesn't last for 5 hours. No, it was really planned to do it this way once we started to receive the feedback about these power stones. And if we see that it works better, it is very likely that the next time this power stone would come to the game, it will directly be with the reduced effect. That being said, one thing we also want to continue with is adding new power stones that are combination of several power stones, because that's kind of a limitless system that allows us to create exclusive power stones for an era that might never return, or return, in a year or in 2 years or whatever, that are a bit powerful. Of course, this one was way too OP, so that's something we need to work better. But this idea of combining power stones into one is something that allows us to make new exciting power stones with a new era, without necessarily trying to reinvent the wheel, because at this point, a lot of the possible conditions already exist. So there's not necessarily as much opportunity to extend the current uh, the current roadster of power stones. There are some as well that did not come back in a while, but that's usually the ones that did not come back. It's because they were perceived when they went live as way too powerful, or we ended up realizing that they were broken. That happens to quite a few from the early days of the game as well. That basically now they are broken because so many other aspects have been added afterwards, that basically the way the calculations were done with these power stones would either make them useless or make them way too powerful. So that's also something, one of the reasons why sometimes you don't see some power stone returning. But there as well, if you have feedback like power stones you haven't seen in a while that you want to return, just let us know. I keep forwarding your feedback. As I was saying, I keep sharing the feedback that you guys share with me about the ones you don't want to see anymore, or at least not as often, and definitely not in season one, season two, etc. I'm not sure how it's going to be with the next era, because this era has been planned for a little while now. But by the time the following one would start, we should get to a way better organization with Power Stones. That's definitely something on which we simply did not have both the time and the expertise to make it a lot better than it currently was. Right. So far the Power Stones pool, it's not terrible, but it could be better. That's for sure, and that's what we're hoping at now that we will have a bit more bandwidth to work on this. Madre Mario saying that it would be nice to see Aunt make a comeback, but maybe in the last week of season 4. Okay, so from that, I guess that it had a super strong effect because you wouldn't mention it this way otherwise. Yeah, that's something we can look into. In general, the season 4 anyway, we kind of go a bit crazy. So why not? Why not? I will check with the team. I'm not sure if the season 4 is already like definitive, and I mean they already have the list of all the power stones they want in the era. There's usually a bit of bandwidth to move one or two, so maybe that's something we could move in there a little. Okay, so yeah, we already have done about, well, more than 1/4 of fight nights, so it's going quite quick actually today. Yeah, I guess the fact that the, the Twisted Curse event is going on and I am not the best at this doesn't really help. But yeah, let's keep going. What was the next point I wanted to bring up? You would like to have a nature era with a nature wagon. So in terms of new eras, I think at the moment it's not planned. The main reason for this is that an era per se is not just adding a new theme, new art assets, and a different set of power stones. From the technical standpoints, there's a bit more going on, and mostly at the moment, the way it's set is that the eras already last 2 months. So if we start to have more eras, it's going to take forever to basically circle through them. So at the moment, it's not like there's no plans to have new era. Maybe if there's a new era, it would come as a replacement for an era that has been there pretty much since the beginning, and that we would rotate. So maybe that the order is not exactly the same every time, etc. But at the moment, it's not the priority. I would say well, I mean, the team has a lot to work on right now, and I know that the era is not a priority. On the other end, it was, if you remember, when Godspeed took over the game, we added an era. I mean, it was between the moment we took over the game and the moment Traplight was on the way out, but technically it's an era that we worked on together. The reason why this happened was not necessarily because we needed a new era, but simply because it was a learning session, if you will, for us to know, okay, in case we want to add an era going forward, that's what it looks like. My gut feeling is that if we ever get a new era, and I would be interested in knowing what you think, but I would see it more as in between eras and short one season, one shot era. Like imagine that after the next era, instead of jumping right into the next one, you have 1 week or 2 weeks rather, one season that is, a Christmassy kind of season outside of eras. It's kind of its own era. And you can go a bit crazy with the power stones. We can go a bit crazy with whatever we want. And it would be, yeah, pretty much a micro era that we could fit in specific moments. And that could be more of an event per se, because it would be going hand in hand with what happens in real life. Like right now, one of the problem with the setup that we have with eras is that we rarely have the era that we would like to have for Halloween, for example, or sometimes we have the the current snowy era in the middle of the summer, and it's like that doesn't necessarily has the same appeal to players. And if we were able to squeeze in from time to time micro eras in between several others, first of all, that would break the monotony a bit for players. We could make those eras a bit more specific. There's this idea we already discussed a few times of having moments when only some units are available. Well, that could be what a micro era is about. It could be micro era, you only have access to, you know, 50 different units, but that's it. And then after 2 weeks, everything is back. That could be something. Yeah, I'm aware that the Earth is not flat; it's from Mars, and that there are different hemisphere for well, the different hemispheres have different summer and winter. But you know what I mean. Like even if you're not in winter in your country when there's Christmas, Christmas is still at one point of the time, right? Same goes with Halloween or Easter or any of those big celebrations that you kind of see across the globe, or the Chinese New Year, or those kind of things. These big celebrations, regardless of where you are, they will always kind of be at the same time. And so that's why we were thinking, one way to realign the eras the way we want, depending on each year, etc., is by including a few micro eras. And those micro eras, we could decide we could basically go a bit crazy because it would be just one season. So imagine, if we want to say, hey, this is a micro era with no artifacts, or this is a micro era where um, one faction is boosted like crazy, or this is a micro era where um, the the boost that you get from the seasonal achievement is way over the top, and that turns into a crazy race for the top guys to get it as fast as possible. I don't know. There are many things we could think of that could be possible if you think about it outside of an era, because right now the only way to do it is as we're doing right now at the end of season 4, because otherwise it just has too much of an impact on everyone's game. But if you do it outside of an era, that could be one way to go around it. So yeah, I'm not saying that this is going to happen because there's no plan, there's not been you know really really elevated discussions about it so far. But I know that this is an idea that was brought up once or twice with the team, and something that could make sense if we want to expand on eras. Um, you say so we could shorten eras to be only 3 seasons. Technically, yes, that's something we already thought about. We even thought about having 2 seasons eras so that it's basically 1 month. Um, and potentially there was this idea of even making the seasons be 1 week long. Of course, season pass and all of that would have to be adapted. You would be requested to do way less because it would be way shorter. But that that could be also something we were thinking about, either shortening the era and the seasons, or shortening just the era. Those are things we thought about. The main problem I would say on that end so far is that the game is so established this way, especially for the players that have been there forever, that we know that even if it's not necessarily a negative impact, changing their habits on that aspect of the game, if they don't necessarily either benefit or suffer from it from the get-go, might directly be perceived as something either useless or not really beneficial. So yeah, it's something we have to consider. Uh, as you know, we are not afraid of changing the habits of the players if we see that it's better for the game per se. In this very case, it's hard to tell if it's really better for the game or not. It's more of something we would like to experiment with to see if it's better for the game. But that's the problem, is that it's an experiment, and before we do it, we don't really know if it was. So yeah, that might be something we can try at one point, having one era being a shortened one, see the effect, and decide from there. That would be an option we could think of. So yeah, after the global red boss changes, now that we get closer to it, we have a better idea of the roadmap there. The next thing will be related to artifacts. That will be the artifacts rework. The artifacts rework, you already know, guys, roughly the direction we are going with. We are adding new levels. The current max level will pretty much be the new max level as well in terms of value, but you will need to basically um, work your way to get there. Probably that it will be faster for players to reach level 5, but level 5 will not be as strong as it currently is. And then it will take a lot more time to go from level 5 to maybe level 10. And level 10 will be the equivalent strength of what level 5 currently is. So everyone will keep their relative advantage over others. Like if you're already at level 5, well, obviously you will be able to go way faster to level 6, etc., than someone that is not yet at level 5, etc. But the difference between a supermaxed level artifacts and someone that is just level 4, for example, well, yeah, of course, if you go to the new level 10 compared to someone that is level 4, that will be the same gap as right now between 4 and 5. But the gap between 4 and 5, 4 and 6, 4 and 7 will not be as drastic as currently it can be between 4 and 5. So that should level the battlefield quite a fair bit for players, especially for the ones that came even not recently to the game, but people that came to the game even a year ago or 2 years ago and do not yet have all of their um, key artifacts leveled up. So that's one bit that will be there. And then the other one with the artifact is, as I was saying, there will be likely a new currency that you will need on top of the fragments the um, and the artifact shards. This currency will likely come from either the season pass or events, or can be purchased as well in limited quantity. But that's going to be the idea, right? That it's going to take you a lot of time, pretty much like it happened with the artifacts when they were initially introduced, but with the difference that now the progression through artifacts will be a bit smoother, especially at the beginning, and that um, it will take a long time, but it's not going to be as drastic of a jump. Like the day you will move from level 9 to level 10, it will be super nice, but you won't feel the same increase that you had when you went from level 4 to 5, for example. So overall, you should progress more often. It will take a super long time to get to the new level 10, which will make other aspects of the game more prominent, especially power stones and your units level and your units strategy and choice in general. But at the same time, it will also push players to contribute to other events of the game, because what is likely to happen is that in the clan reds you get the shards and fragments which you still need, and in the global red, in the season pass, etc., you're getting the new currency that you will need, and potentially later on in clan wars, etc. This way, all the aspects of the game are kind of linked. Like if you want to have the best, to make the best of the game, you will have to go into those different aspects. The other thing that is coming after the artifacts, as you know, after the artifacts, we will be focusing on the merchant system. We already talked about that quite a few times. But something else that is being worked on right now, because that will probably be kind of an initial step for what would come later on with clan wars, etc., will be to revamp clan participation. So there are some different ideas that are being discussed right now, but the idea is to push players to contribute more within their clans. So either by granting you more rewards when you're participating, or granting new types of bonuses for participation. One thing that is being discussed at the moment, for example, would be that whenever someone in your clan reaches a certain milestone in the season pass, no, not season pass, season path, sorry, uh, everyone in the clan gets some gold or a very small amount of gems or something like this, which would mean that quickly all the clans will say, hey guys, we want to get that, so we need you to go and progress through the season pass, the season path. God, I always struggle with those two names being so close from one another. Another way to do it is with the seasonal challenges. Say, anytime someone is able to get one of the rewards of the seasonal challenges, the clan is getting some rewards. And those rewards basically, even if they're small, since they're going to everyone, that's another incentive to be proactive and to contribute to the game. So those are things that we're looking at the moment to boost activity, but also to reboost the clans, because before we do the clan wars, we also need to revive more and more um, the clan's life. So one aspect that will play a role in there is the clan leaderboard in the global red boss. Another aspect that will play a role there, as I was saying, is participation within the clan. So that's one thing we're looking at. Yeah, that's one of the things that was not necessarily mentioned before that could be coming a bit faster than what was initially expected. Okay, so let me check. Where are we right now? Okay, we already have 47 fights under our belt. So we have about 45 to go. So yeah, we are a bit more than halfway through. So those are the main things that will be coming soon-ish. So the global red boss, then the artifacts, and ideally the merchant system. Those are the things you can expect by the end of the year. The merchants, it might be early next year, depending on how fast we go with this. But the other, like the artifacts rework and the changes to the remaining changes to the global red boss, that should come. As I was saying, the global red boss changes planned for October, most likely mid of October, and then that will leave us realistically a bit less than 2 months to have the artifact rework fully released, and then after that, potentially have the merchants released. My guess is that the merchants will be released rather early next year, mostly because December is a bit of a mess. Well, as for everyone else, there are basically holidays there that make it that there's uh, less workforce available around December, but also the stores, the app stores are pretty much preventing any new version to be deployed except for hotfixes, roughly between the 20th and the 1st of January, roughly. So we always have quite a period of time in which uh, not a lot can come to the game, which means as well, like if we wanted to have the merchant out in December, it would mean it has to be out by the 12 or the 13 or something like this, so that we can make sure the deploy, like the version is approved by the stores, pushed, that we can get it forced update to everyone, and that it's still working fine and smoothly, so that we still keep some bandwidth in case we need a hotfix, etc. And yeah, that would probably mean that in December, pretty much we have like 10 days or 12 days to release a new version. And for that reason alone, to me, it seems more realistic to expect it early next year. But we'll see. Maybe it will happen a bit faster. Ultimately, it's also not an actual, like, okay, it's a feature, but technically it's a shop, right? Technically, it's just an NPC that you click on, and after that, you go into a shop menu which already exists. So that means we can rework pretty much what exists in the shop and present it as the merchant shop. So maybe that could work as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the main things we're looking at until the end of the year. As you know, for next year, outside of the big work on the clan wars, which is pretty much what should keep us busy all year long with different deploys, different elements, etc. Oh, you have 5 of your accounts in a row. Why are they in a row? That's so weird. Because I randomized the we randomized everything. Noobsos, Noobosaurus Rex, Alpha Noob. Yeah, okay, and Nubaru, I guess, is also you. Yeah, that's 4. And who would be the 5th one? I only see 4 of them, but yeah, maybe the 5th one. Oh, and Nubimus is way lower. Okay, I still believe that you have the best names for accounts. To be honest. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, you will get pretty much the next year will be probably packed with Im- improvements to clans, early mechanics of clan wars, those kind of things. That will pretty much be the main things we'll focus on next year. Oh, matches is you as well. What is wrong with? Oh, it's because of Matt Rema and it's Matt Cheese. Okay, I get it. But I prefer the noob related names. Sorry, it's not as cool. It's cool, but it's not as cool. So yeah, next year will probably mostly be related to clan wars. The goal for 2025 is that if by the end of the year we have the entire clan wars feature, so not just a clan war system and a leaderboard and rewards, but everything else that we think around this feature to be released, working, etc., that would be a great year. Um, then the other things that are planned for next year, one of them that I already mentioned is a statistic page. I'm not going to go too much into the details, but the thing is just that we are trying to attract new players in the game, players that come from different demographics, maybe places we didn't get too much marketing on, etc. so far. And one of the things we analyze is that we're lacking some of those players, some of those markets, etc. We're lacking this aspect of statistics. So we are going to be deploying on this, which will be both a way to make the game more appealing to certain categories of players, and at the same time will please the long-time players that have been asking for a super long time to have more statistics. So that's one thing that would come. Um, and The other things that we're looking at a bit related to that would be this kind of commander view, which is pretty much related to the statistics that I was mentioning earlier. So that's one bit that will come. Another thing that will come actually very soon that I forgot to mention because it's not directly in game are clear improvements to the web shop. So to the web to Spellwagon. Spellwagon is slowly expanding. What it means is that we, first of all, there are more games on it slowly, but it's getting added. But also, um, we will start sharing more information in there. There are quite a lot of plans of stuffs we want to do there. The problem is that the website was not designed for that initially. So we had to design it, but we don't want to put high priority on that compared to other stuffs. So it took a bit of time, but we're slowly developing this. So you will see quite a lot of exclusive content. Out of the stuffs we're looking at, one of the things we plan is to have clan leaders interviews. Sorry, the headset was turning off. We should have clan leaders interviews. We'll have some exclusive stats for the entire season or the entire era from the entire server. We plan on including some rewards system. So there will be rewards in there. I'm not going to tell you too much, but that will come. We will also be ideally adding some visual assets. So basically allowing you pretty much to download high quality versions of the avatars, high quality versions of the loading screens, all those kind of things. Sometimes share some sketches about the upcoming units, all those kind of things. So slowly, the idea is that the website should be more than just the store aspect of it. That was the plan from the beginning, but it's now um, moving into motions, and so you should see more and more interesting things happening on the Spellwagon website, and it should also have more and more interesting deals as well, stuff that are a bit more exclusive, not necessarily because it's exclusive content, but because it's different types of offers than what you see in the game as well. So, yeah, that's also one of the big things that is coming soon. Uh, yeah, I think those are the main points that I had. We still have about 30 players to go at this point. Still have at least one Nubimus Maximus account to go with. Oh, and we have a Nubimus Prime below. How many accounts do you register in this? That's crazy. Uh, no comment. So yeah, by the way, I didn't realize when I was just dressing up today, I didn't mean to be doing such a huge advertisement for Fender. But yeah, what can I say? For anyone who plays guitars over there, I've always been more of a Fender guy than Gibson guy. So that's that's the way it is. Sorry about the advertisement. They're not paying me for that. If they want to send me a free guitar, I will be gladly accepting the offer. But we'll probably need a bit more than the current amount of people watching the stream to justify that. Okay, so guys, I don't know if any of the people that are watching the streams pretty much wants to ask questions. If you have any suggestions, any topic you would like an update on, in case there's something I didn't mention or something you didn't um, heard or anything like this. But yeah, just let me know if that's the case, and we will be talking about it. Okay, I take that as a no. It's a bit funny right now. I have pretty much four screens, sorry, showing me battles, and none of them are perfectly in sync because you have the iPad, you have the iPad captation tool, you have the visualization of the iPad captation tool inside the OBS device, the OBS account that I use, and then you have the YouTube stream because I always keep an eye on the stream, making sure nothing freezes there when speaking to you. So yeah, that's a bit weird to see so many screens not in sync. As I was saying earlier today at the beginning of the stream, connection is not too great today. So usually they're pretty close. You know, by the time I look on another one, I don't even manage to notice the difference. Right now, there's a bit of a difference. So yeah, in a way, you could say that I live in the future compared to what you are seeing, which is, you know, interesting to think about. Okay, so who's next? Well, that's my favorite nickname in the world, right? Oh no, we already passed it. Okay, so now we have Admiral. We will have after that Gorka Morka. We have Veringer. We have Nubimus Prime. We have Gamer, the Rootkit, Gustav, Devastator, Jam, the Trojan. That's also um, a list of alternative accounts from one person, I guess, because you know the Trojan, the rootkits, you have the DDoS that we already passed, the cheats and the exploits. I guess either all those guys are from the same um, clan, the backdoor. They are either all from the same clan or they are all from the same person having multiple accounts. The hack. Is there another one that I can spot that would be from this same family? The keylogger. Yeah, that's a lot of players. So Matrama, you're saying that you think the icebreakers need to have a visual effect to show the area that they are striking. Um, Out of the blue like this, I wouldn't really be able to know. Um, that's something we could check. I think it's especially uh, making sense right now because it's the icebreakers are cursed right this season or this week. So that's probably where the suggestion comes from. All of the hacker names are from a Polish clan, and I think 10 of them belong to one person. That would make sense. Actually, I'm gonna end up discovering that the reason why there are five people watching in live is because there are five people in the 100 players that I'm fighting every week. It's basically only alternative accounts. That wouldn't be too fun actually if that was the case. No, I know it's not the case. I know that there are indeed a fair amount of alternate accounts from some people, but I know there are a lot of different accounts as well, obviously. Watch the fight with Matt Remar coming up, and you'll see the icebreaker standing really far away, and it looks odd. I will try to pay special attention to that. Then indeed. Oh yeah. Also, there's one thing I wanted to tell you. I'm waiting for 100% confirmation, but it seems almost guaranteed that there will be a skin coming from the skin design contest added to the game in the next era. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to tell you that it's related to an event that is especially enjoyed by people in North America towards the end of the year. Uh, Definitely not sharing this kind of information with you guys. Yes, there's a skin from the skin design contest that should come. And as soon as I have the 100% confirmation, I will inform that player. And this player will obviously receive the skin for free, as it was mentioned as an additional reward outside of the gems that were related to the contest. But I'm really excited for that. That will be the first time, at least under Godspeed, that we do it for Battle Legion. This is something I've done in tons of games in the past, and I love to bring content from the community to the game. So I hope that this skin will be very appreciated. More than likely, this will be a skin that will be available for Eternite or available in an event in a way that basically does not require to spend real money for it. That's the idea. But yeah, I can't wait to see how it's going to look like and to see it implemented in the game. That will be quite interesting. Okay, folks, we have about 15 accounts to go at this point. So if you have any further questions, just let us know. Trying to think, but other than that, there's not so much I have to share that you guys are not aware of, or that would be especially exciting about the game. Let me recheck. I will check actually the documentation for the next era, or recheck it rather, because there's one thing I want to verify. So yeah, so that's I think that's something I already mentioned the last time. Just as a reminder, there will likely be only one new unit for the next era. But this unit should get quite a lot of players hyped. So that's very cool. Let's just say that I'm not gonna say anything. Oh, it looks cool. I can see the design. You cannot, but I can, and it looks cool. Has the reduction in duration for inactivity happened for players to be removed from the market matchmaking, or is that still down the road? It's not active yet. The last I've heard, it was meant to be activated with the beginning of the hero, so next week, basically. And it will go first from 1 year to 9 months. We'll make sure that we still have enough players everywhere, that everything is running smoothly, but I have no doubt about it. Then, with the next season, or maybe 2 seasons down the road, we'll go from 9 months to 6. Again, we check, we make sure that we have enough players, that there's no negative side effects we didn't foresee. And then finally, we would move it to 3 months, which is likely to be the final step, either 3 months or 2 months. With 2 months meaning, yeah, you miss an era, you are out of the matchmaking pretty much. But I cannot say yet if it will go down to 2 months, because for that we need to make sure first that we still have the minimum volume of players in the different steps, etc. On my side, I have no doubts that it will still work just fine, because all of those accounts are anyway in the bronze league, right? So except blocking new players, they are not stacking up in earlier leagues. Even a player from the top league, when they stopped playing, since they go down 2 steps every season, after 1.5 years max, they will be in bronze anyway. Yeah, we'll get more players staying with the game if we fix the wall. That's guaranteed, and that's why we are doing this. But the point that we're just cautious with is, imagine, let's say we go to 2 months right away, and we realize that the mass of players needed to have a good matchmaking and still keep a very small difficulty by the fact that when you enter the league, it's also supposed to be a bit of a challenge. So if you enter the league and there's no more any player that is higher than you, but only the bronze players of the same level than you, it might also not be the experience we want. So what we want is that, let's say right now you're facing 95% of players that are way stronger than you and 5% of your peers. The idea would be to revert that, to have 95% of fights against regular players of the same or pretty close to you, and 5% of fights that might be against stronger players to keep pushing you to progress into the game, etc. The other thing is we also need, and that is coming not necessarily with the beginning of the era. I think it will be for the season following that, for season 2. But we'll also be fixing um, the indirect. How do you say that? The down ranking. So basically, players that are going below the current threshold of the leagues. Yeah, I will keep an eye for the icebreakers, Matrema. No worries. Even if I'm lost in my thought, I still have this. Well, actually, 3 screens showing me the fights. So yeah, I should be able to see it. And it's up now. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Indeed, yeah, when the aura is a bit far, it gets quite confusing. Yeah, because the little how do you call them? The little clouds that they emit are not making sense with the extended um, targeting zone anymore. That's a good code. I'm not sure it will be changed simply because it might be years before those guys are part of the Twisted Curse event again. But that's something I will bring up just in general, not only for the icebreakers, but if there are units for which we boost this ability range or targeting range, that when we boost the targeting range, we have this issue of visual effects not making change indeed. Oh, you think the change should be permanent? Yeah. Okay, I get what you mean, because indeed, right now it's exaggerated, but it might be true indeed that even in general, it would be beneficial. That's I'm not I cannot say about that, but yeah, I will bring it up to the team for it to be looked into for sure. Okay. So yeah, I was saying something. I completely lost what what I was saying. I think that was about the next era anyway. Oh yeah, we were talking about the wall, and you were asking. Oh no, I was mentioning that we're also fixing the indirect down ranking. So basically, people that are dropping indirectly. What I mean by this is that right now we have put thresholds for the league rewards, which means you cannot go down more than certain amounts of leagues um, during a single season. But players found out that if you are getting attacked and not you yourself attacking, and if you lose those fights, you can still lose trophies and therefore end up lower than the threshold. And from there, you can start again attacking and losing to go down, which means players are still able to go back to bronze and collect up all the rewards again. The problem is that this is contributing to the wall system, because even if we take out all the inactive players, if at every season starts you still have a super big number of top players that basically drop down because they want to get the few extra rewards they're getting, it's simply not helping the newcomers anyway. So what we're looking at right now is fixing this. Again, as a reminder for anyone watching, um, in replay, even with the system we've put in place, if it was, if this current issue is fixed, or current, it's not an exploit per se, but this indirect way of avoiding the threshold, even if we fix this, players can still go down quite a fair bit and collect quite a fair bit of rewards every season. The only difference is that you cannot collect all of them, but you can still collect some of them, a fair amount of them. And when you look at the difference, it's not that big of a difference if it allows all the players, like newer players, to progress better, not have the same struggle that they currently have, to have better skirmish events, because the skirmish event is also linked to that. Um, Everyone in the leagues is getting the same skirmish, if I remember correctly. The problem is right now, because it always takes the three armies from players that are in the 10% of the players with the lowest number of trophies within your within your how do you say that, within your bracket. It means that right now the players that are in bronze, they have to face super strong skirmish for them, because most of the skirmish will be taken from players that have the lowest trophies, and that includes all the inactive accounts, as we were mentioning before. But also, depending on when the skirmish happens, it can still include a lot of the top guys that are just down ranking for the beginning of the season or anything like this. So that's one bit that we will basically allow, we will help the players to deal with the wall a lot better if we get this issue fixed, which will come. Again, I don't remember if it's going to be with the beginning of the era or with the next season, but the fix is ready. So it should be, it's just a question of whether we need an update to deploy it or not. If not, it's going to be fixed with the next era. Otherwise, it will be fixed with the following season. Uh, but then again, keep in mind, uh, we are still adding more rewards, slightly better ones to the global red boss. It's not going to be a massive change, but you will now have the 500 top 500 players getting slightly better rewards. Since it's not based only on the old portal keys that you have, but a brand new currency, everyone can contribute. So overall, when you look at the rewards that you're getting now compared to before the seasonal achievements, compared to before the different achievements that we've added, before the new season pass, before all of that, ultimately we are granting more rewards than we used to. Like, you have more rewards now than a few years ago, like 1 year ago. But the difference is that they're not necessarily coming from the same source. And yes, the next era is Shadow of the Void, indeed. And I will only say one thing to leave you on the nice note for the upcoming era, is that the unit that will come, let's just say that it's a void unit, of a kind of unit that you have one of each element, and that has been requested for quite a while. And they're quite massive, and they are there in the mythology of almost every religion in the world because people found dinosaur bones and thought they were those things. Dragon Void, I'm just saying, or Void Dragon, depending on how you want to say it. That's it. That's the bomb that I'm dropping before we end this fight night. I'm just gonna grant you all the reward. And yeah, that was basically the news for today. Yes, I can drop the bomb because it's in few days now. But the next new unit for the next era will be a Void Dragon. And I hope that you will like it because I like the design. It looks quite cool. Okay, folks, thank you again, everyone. Let me just grant you all your rewards. This is done. Thank you again for a great stream. We'll see each other in 2 weeks or on Discord, obviously. And yeah, have a wonderful evening. Bye.